Welcome to the second section of this volume, Make Your Own Observable. In this section, we are going to look at how observables are just generalized functions. We'll be creating observables from scratch. We'll add error handling and completion to them. We'll be creating our own creation operator. And finally, we'll be adding a few other operators. So let's get started with the first video, Observable as Functions. In this video, we are going to look at how observables are just functions, and we will be making our own observables from scratch. So let's start. So as I mentioned before, observables act just like a function. We can have a quick look at it and see how they resemble a function. And then when we start making our own observables, it'll be clear that observables are just functions and observers are just simple objects. So let's have a look at a very simple function. Our greet function takes no argument, and it just simply returns hello. So if I run this now, nothing happens. And of course it wouldn't. So let's just call this function. And let's console log its value. And now let's run it. And we see hello. Next, let's make an observable out of it. So our greet stream is equal to observable of, and then we again say hello. So now let me comment the previous function and its call. And I clear the console and we run with JS. And we see nothing is happening again. And of course, we know to get a value out of an observable, we have to call subscribe on it. So let's do it now. So we can simply write our subscribe method. On a greet stream, we do subscribe, and on the value x, we console log the value of x. When I run it, I can see hello being console logged. So here we can see the function declaration here is similar in the way we declared the observable here. If we didn't put the subscribe method, like in above we didn't call the function, nothing happens on the console. If we call the function and console log its value, we can see hello. Similarly, if we subscribe to our stream and console log the values, we can again see hello. So we can see the functions and observable are quite similar. They don't produce values or they don't act out unless they are called. This is known as lazy evaluation. So now let's get started building our own observable. Let's start making an observable right from the subscribe function. If you remember, in the subscribe function, we give it another function which takes up the values, and then we console log its values. Now if you again remember, we can still give two more functions here. One for error handling and one for completion. We'll look to them later. Let's just take this function out for now and call it the next function. So we say var next is equal to the same function, and then we can plug it back into our subscribe function. So we are calling our subscribe function with the next function, but we haven't written our subscribe function. So let's write a very simple subscribe function. So our function subscribe takes the next values. Then on an array, let's just do a for each and pass it the next value function, which in our case is the next function. Now if I clear the console and I run, I can see the values 1, 2, 3 being coming up. So by now, our program is already taking the shape of an observer, but we are far away from it.